Peter struggled to hold it back. He could feel the vision pressing at his mind. He was nearly off the mountain road. He only needed a moment longer before it would be safe to let go. Finally, when the ground was flat, Peter let the greenery take him. He saw the flaming horse, the shooting stars. The screaming horse, once neighing, took the sound of a man. He came to, and it seemed no one was the wise of what he was grappling with. He cleared his throat and straightened up to receive these peasants rightfully as the son of a great baron. At the foot of the mountain, they passed a pig farm. The farmer rushed to Lord Ravenschild and offered a slab of bacon. The baron smiled and thanked him. He reached into his purse and tossed the farmer a silver piece. It would probably feed his family for weeks. The villagers gawked at the party as they rode down the dirt street. Some watched in awe, some fiddled with odd crosses wrapped around their wrists and necks. Lord Ravenschild was given gifts of handmade wooden figures and fresh-baked bread. He in turn tossed coppers at any in his presence. A woman carrying 2 buckets of water stumbled around as they passed by. Peter thought, someone should give her some help. Peasants could act like such barbarians sometimes when they see a woman struggling. Peter passed a group of stonemasons, making what looked like additions to the church. The builders placed the stone blocks on chalked locations while the masons were shaping the stones. He tried to slow down, but Pax urged him forward. It looked like one of the masons was carving a symbol into his block. Peasants did such odd things. A woman caught his eye. She was carrying a garland of garlic and onions. Her house was adorned with flowers and twisting vines. She caught Peter's eye and he looked away. He continued until they were in the village square. Shops surrounded it, as did the crowds. A street preacher stood and preached unintelligibly. 6 yeomen held their bows as they drank dark beer on the corner. They watched the preacher and filled with odd crosses around their necks. Waiting there, in the square, was the village headman, Victor. He bowed his head and greeted the party. Guten Tag, Victor. Guten Tag, my lord steward. How may I serve you? I will be taking court in the church to hear news and grievances. You can prepare for us there. But first, can someone point me to the house of Hans, the groundskeeper? Hans's house was 1 room with 3 beds, and bed was a generous word for what Peter saw. Hans's widow, Gretchen, understood why the Lord Steward, his son, and captain of the guard were at her door. She rushed, with tears in her eyes, to tidy up and fetch them something to eat and drink. Peter's father informed her of Hans's death and the reason. He heard her cries and held her hands. Peter watched the village from outside the glassless window. It was good to see how people lived outside the castle, how vulnerable they all were all the way down here. If he was to be a defender of the common folk, it was good of him to visit. Some of the squires in the castle turned up their noses at the builders, cooks, and chamberlains. Peter wanted to be a good knight, a protector and a guardian. But he had to cover his nose because of the smell. They emptied their chamber pots right outside their windows. How could they stand the stench? Right, Peter? Absolutely, Father. What did he just agree to? Judging by the Lord Steward's face, he wasn't pleased. Thank you for your hospitality, Gretchen. I recommend you and your family stay in your home for a week, as advised by our castle doctor. My son Peter, as discussed, will bring you money to live on until you find a new husband. Oh, that's what he agreed to. Gretchen turned, her eyes bloodshot. She curtsied. Poorly. I thank you, my lords. Thank you, Lord Peter. Bless you both. Bless Count Willem. Peter bowed his head. At your service, mein Frau. A priest was standing near the corner. He was young. He had a way of speaking. A crowd was gathering around him, many wearing those funny crosses. The yeomen were still there, watching. A curse is taking us, he called. Death makes its way around, and the castle stands high above us, mocking us. Verrucht, Peter thought. What a lunatic. Peter's father began his ride towards the church. It was bigger than the last time he was there. The Lord Steward was speaking to a guildsman as he walked by his side. The woman with the plant-filled house was still outside. Peter gestured to Sir Belbeal and turned towards her. "My lord?" "Quick detour, sir." Peter led his horse to the woman and stopped. She turned and bowed her head. "To what do I owe the pleasure, my lord?" Peter hopped off and held his hand for Sir Belbeal to stay. "Mein Frau, who's the priest on the corner?" "Ah, that would be Brother Ullman. He's a friar, my lord." "Was that the guy Brita mentioned?" "I see. He might want to be careful. If the wrong ears hear what he's saying, he could get whipped. Maybe even worse." The woman tapped one of his earlobes. "Are these the wrong ears, my lord?" Peter met her eyes. These peasants. "My lady, I require counsel, if you'll indulge me." "I shall do what I can for you, my lord." Sir Belbeal was still on his horse, hand on his sword hilt, watching the friar speak. Peter turned back to the woman. "I may have encountered a Zauberin. Ever since I have been having visions. I may be seeing what may happen in the future, specifically death. The visions leave me incapacitated. I want to be able to see and help who might be in danger, but I also need to do my duties as a squire." The woman nodded and held her hands together. "You have been blessed, my lord." "It doesn't feel that way." She vanished into her shack. She emerged a moment later, a piece of charcoal in her hand. "The Holzauber is too strong for you. You must balance it with its opposite. Hold this." Peter took the charcoal in his hand. It was still warm from a fire that'd gone out a while ago. The woman waved a garland of strong garlic past his nose. 1,000 birds flew through the air at a fiery horse. Peter was calm. He could see this vision, but also the woman. Everything was calm. The vision faded and he took a breath, as if he had just gone for a light jog. "Charcoal was once wood, my lord. The wall is opposed to fire. Keep this in your pocket and grasp at it when you feel the sight coming to you. Eventually, you should grow stronger." "Danke." "Thank you, Frau Alyssa, my lord." Peter swung his leg over his horse. "You have done me a great service, Alyssa. You shall be rewarded." She bowed her head and watched him ride away.